iOS 12.1.3 has finally made it to release. Apple has pushed this out to all devices amongst other softwares with watchOS and macOS. So 12.1.3, what's new? Let's get into it. So this is a pretty small update, but at the same time, it does have a few considerable changes. And for me, for some reason, I had to re-download the entire thing on the beta. It was almost 3 gigabytes. For most people, it'll be about 300 megabytes. It did also free up a little bit of storage for me. I got an entire gigabyte back after updating, so that was kind of cool. Now what's new? The biggest change that most will notice, and that's only in China, is of course the new animation. So due to the Qualcomm legal issues in 12.1.3, so those animations are reserved for users in China. Here in America, there will be nothing different, so don't worry. The only change I've seen is here in the regulatory, just some updates. So us users here in America, we're not going to notice any animation changes. That's just in China. In regulatory, there's a few updates here. That's the only effect of the legal battle that I can see in America. So 2, the smart battery case now in iOS 12.1.3 supports the iPhone 10. Previously, if you were to put it on, it would not work properly. Now it is supported, even though it doesn't fit perfectly, the speaker cutouts on the bottom, the camera, it will functionally work on an iPhone 10 if you want it to, as long as you're on iOS 12.1.3. And if I actually jump into the update page here, if we go into learn more, there's an actual changelog here. So this is what Apple lets you know that they fixed, and that's an issue in message that could impact scrolling through photos in the details view. Just an example what they're talking about. I get it all the time. It's super annoying, so I'm very glad to see that they finally fixed them. It also addresses an issue where photos could have striped artifacts after being sent from the share sheet, which I've personally never seen, but good of them to fix that. Fixes an issue that may cause audio distortion when using an external audio input device on the iPad Pro. Have not experienced that. And resolves an issue that could cause certain CarPlay systems to disconnect from the newer iPhones, and I have not experienced that either. HomePod also gets some updates there, so there it is, iOS 12.1.3. Couple other mysteries is the loading indicator thing we saw earlier actually new to 12.1.3? We don't know. And many users have actually been reporting Wi-Fi and cellular improvements since updating to the beta of 12.1.3. Apparently Apple's been working under the cover on that. And lastly, let's jump into the Geekbench, see what kind of score we get. For those asking, should you update? I don't see why not. Unless you're holding out for the jailbreak specifically, there's no reason not to update. It's a lot of bug fixes, a lot of quality of life improvements, so definitely do so. Now, if Apple added that animation here in America, I don't know if I'd update. I really didn't like it. It's something new, I guess, but I like the current one where it's at. So I'm glad that they didn't force that change upon us here in America. And there's that Geekbench result. Skirting those high numbers on single core, multi-core, pretty average. So there it is, guys. iOS 12.1.3. So time will tell. We'll see. But let me know your experience with 12.1.3. Pretty